of that getting around here this weekend. Don't be fooled by the sun being out. There's lots of ugly sicknesses hanging around in the air here, but a fantastic day to go racing. Temperatures just about ideal. And the third race, a top 15 reverse grid race, if you like, here. So the guy that won yesterday, Craig Wood, starts deep in the pack, and I like that about this category.
Look, one of the big differences from yesterday's race as well is yesterday was mid-afternoon. It was really hot this morning. It's much cooler conditions. So early in the race, it's all about trusting the lateral grip of the tyre, really being able to sort of get on with the job and push hard right from the start. So
Lee Bowler will start from pole position. Craig Thompson on the front row, so hopefully a chance to get some points on the board this weekend. Scott O'Keefe and Reece Chapman on the next row. Then we start to go back to the likes of Walsh, Kel Tressiter, who made up 21 positions yesterday. Blake Skibberus will start alongside him. Charlotte Pointing was the best of the ladies out there yesterday. Bill Hines is in the field this weekend, double duties in the Stadium Super Trucks as well. Michael Rinken and Emma Clark, basically from 16 on, are the same results we saw from yesterday. Ruth Bowler starting back in 21st. Back to Adam Ubergang. Watch for him, because remember, they were 4 wide going through the centre chicane yesterday. Sam Milton and Jai Robson, who finished third in race number 1, but parked it here on pit straight in race number 2 yesterday.
As you mentioned, these guys that are going to be starting off the front row this morning, they haven't been at the front of the grid all weekend. So for these guys, it's all about when the lights go out, heads down, get on with the job.
So the car's heading to the grid, getting set for race number 3. Let's go down to pit lane and say very good morning to Cameron Vandendungen.
Morning, guys. Just a couple of quick updates. We've had an engine change in Jay Robson's overnight due to a broken gearbox yesterday. But the big one, Charlotte Pointing found out after the race yesterday she had a broken shock absorber that actually did damage to the brake line. She had no brake fluid left at the end of that race.
Yeah, it wasn't the first one down there. There's a lot of teams licking their wounds after the second race yesterday. Adam Ubergang, we always love seeing drivers coming through the field, but that race was cut short when he had to come in and remove the bodywork off the 63 car. But he gets to do it again. He'll be hating the fact he's staying that far back, but hey, gives us something exciting to watch.
Yeah, look, he'll be on a mission to get back to the front. We've still got one more race tomorrow, so this is, for him, it's all going to be about getting as close to the front as he can and then get back right to the front tomorrow.
Great shots from out South Australia fly cam as the infield lock into position. It's a slightly longer race than yesterday. As we pull him into position, that's Troy Dontis, the Fleurieu Milk entry on the left-hand side, caught up in that incident in race number 1 on Thursday afternoon.
Green flag.
So getting set for race number 3. It's a reverse top 15 here.
What's that?
And we're away this time in race number 3. Well done, Lumpy, you got that in nicely. As they spread out 3 wide down the main straight, it's going to be Thompson who will take the lead down into turn number 1. Already Scotty O'Keefe into the mix up here as we go for the centre chicane. And everybody behaving themselves, at least the first 15 cars anyway. The faster guys buried in the middle of the pack here as they sweep up to Wakefield Street on lap 1.
Great to see Thompson have a good start to this race. He's really been in the wars this weekend. He's had his fair share of dramas. He's been in the wall here at turn 4. He's been down the escape road at turn 9, so great to see him out front. And he'll be looking to get his head down and try and get away from these guys, because you know those fast guys starting back in the pack a little bit are starting to move forward. There's Ben Walsh already starting to push his way through.
Here's James Duckworth, who right on board with last year's series champ, the RDA. Brakes and rotors entries. He hits that big aggressive curb on the exit of Hunt Street, and they fan out down Bartels Road for the first lap here. Still getting some heat into the tyres, although the surface is fairly warm still. It hasn't been cooler than 25 degrees all week long here. They still need to get some heat into these Kumho tyres that they're running in 2017.
Ben Walsh really pushing hard there through turn 8. The important thing for these guys starting back in the pack, everyone's arriving down here 3 and 4 wide. That's one of the great things about this category. These guys are everywhere. It's kind of like watching Moto 3.
Yes.
You never know what's about to happen.
Yeah, angry packs of 15 at a time. Pretty much the order of the day. That's Kobe Ron today on the outside, debuting this year in the championship. And just a wall of traffic for the number 1 machine. Nowhere to go at the moment. He'll try and stick it down the inside. Yeah, lift off the throttle. No point trying to put it down there.
One of the real talking points of yesterday's race was watching Ben Walsh come through the field, same as Kel Tressiter. These guys made up 21 positions in yesterday's race. They don't have that far to go today, so they're really keen to get back to the front and push on.
What about the South Aussie lad here, taking the lead there on the run into the centre chicane? I talk of Luke Fraser. Run up to the top here now at Wakefield Street. And that's Kel Tressiter starting to work his way through the field now. So Thompson drops back to 4th, and Ben Walsh, these guys slicing their way through the field.
It's great to see everyone giving each other good racing room up through this part of the circuit. Well, hopefully I don't speak too soon here.
You going to handle that today.
I'll do the commentator's curse today for you.
Usually that's me. So settling into a bit of a rhythm as I say that. Ubergang right up on the curb and went massively wide on the exit of turn number 7. Side by side now down to Bartels Road. Now most of the other categories are warned you can't go too wide. These guys try it. Much smaller cars. There's Skibberus just squirming his way down into the braking point at turn number 9. Casuccio now being pushed on the other side of that curb. Through they sweep around the backside of the circuit. So Fraser, Tressida, Chapman, Walsh, Thompson, your top 5. Reverse top 15 race here today in race number 3.
You watch V8 supercars around here just glide over the top of the curbs. It all looks nice and graceful. You watch these small little Aussie race cars. When they get offline and get over those curbs, it really becomes quite exciting for these guys, especially at the turn 1 chicane. We've seen plenty of these guys come to grief by just being too aggressive over the curbs. These cars, they're so short, they really do tend to bounce and get thrown around quite violently.
And they feel that bump. You can see going into there. These guys really feel that. The track was resurfaced a few years ago, and it really exposed the bump that was there from the old horse racing track that went around this Victoria Park course. Lap 3 of 9, so they run up to the top of Wakefield Street.
Yeah, Blake Skibberus coming up into turn 4. Again, you see the cars over the bumps here. Even from the onboard, you watch how bumpy and violent it is around here, up through this staircase section, through turn 4 back there, into 5. It's all about trying to carry the speed through here, get up onto the back of the car in front, because this is all going to be about the run down the back straight. You can see, use a little bit of curb there, out over the exit curb, right up against the wall, get the big slingshot onto the back straight, and try and beat the car in front to full throttle. Get in for the draft. You might even be able to get this done before turn 8.
It's close enough. We'll keep an eye on that. Meantime, it's on back in the front. Here's Kel Tressida. 26 yesterday, got up to 5th, and now is on the verge of taking the lead. As they sweep out of turn 9. Let's head back down to pit lane.
Scrutiny is currently keeping an eye on Adam Ubergang. They believe there might be oil coming out of that vehicle.
What a tough weekend he's having, seriously.
When you have a bad weekend, it gets really bad, and for him, it's been a shocker this weekend.
Could that be a case of rain over the curbs too hard? These are really low cars.
Yeah, look, it's definitely a possibility. There's so many places around here. If you end up straddling the curb and run the curb under the centre of the car, it can do all sorts of damage underneath, so it's definitely a possibility.
Plenty of action further back in the field here. That's Thompson being menaced by 2 or 3 cars. There's Adam Ubergang, a slightly modified version of what we saw yesterday. A new bonnet on the front of the 63 car. Back on board with Duckworth. Down to the centre chicane. You saw in that shot just a moment ago heading down Bartels Road how much the sun glare is in the morning here heading down the straight. Could barely see the car ahead. Yeah, the glare around here can be quite bad. Kel Tressida going to the outside at turn 5. Not an easy one to do, but what he's trying to do is just size him up back to the outside here. Let's see if he can swing back to the inside on the run up to turn 7 and get down the inside. Otherwise, it's going to be about getting a good run onto the back straight. But what he's got to be careful of here, he's got Ben Walsh coming right up onto the back of him. So as he's trying to get past the car in front, Ben Walsh is seeing all this unfold, and he wants to take advantage of the situation. Hand over fist, he's making the spots up here right now. He is right on the back of this group, as now Kel Tressida will take the lead through the high-speed turn 8. And now watch Walsh. He'll line up for a shot at Fraser here. 3 wide down the bottom of Decateville Terrace. This is great stuff. Walsh will do this. Third to first, that's how it's done. He just sat back and waited, and now takes the lead, and suddenly Luke Fraser goes, man, I was just leading this race. Well, Kel Tressida was slightly compromised through turn 8 there by having to go to the inside. Ben Walsh was able to take the normal racing line, carrying maximum speed through there. 3 wide on the approach down to turn 9. And watch the battle unfold with these 2 guys. These are some of the hardest races out here. These guys have got years of racing experience. They know what they're doing out there. They'll race each other hard, hopefully fair. On the movers and shakers yesterday was Walsh, as he leads us through on lap 5 at 9. 3 cars scrapped for the lead in the Aussie racing cars. As they bounce across the centre chicane. Tressida's not done here, and he's right glued to the back of the Dr. Ink machine. Car number 2 as they run up to the top of Wakefield Street once again. Again, you watch these cars bounce around over the bumps under brakes here at turn 4. See what I mean? Ben Walsh gets the best run through of those 3 cars, flicks out, has got more speed on the approach down here, makes it look easy. That was really well executed down the bottom. Just sat there, bigger hole in the air by the 2 cars ahead, a bit more speed on the exit. Not too often you see 3 wide action, and they get away with it. Down the bottom at Decateville Terrace. A good racing from all of them. There was a bit of paint swap there. A lot of respect from the top three. And now Tressida right in the slipstream. And he loses a bit through there because the air washes the aero out of these cars a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, one of the big things you've got to be careful of is the aero wash. It's a high-speed turn through there, and when you're in behind the car in front, you don't have as much air going over the front, so you do lose a bit of front downforce. Interestingly enough, it looks like Ben Walsh has got a bit of a loose panel on the front of his car, so hopefully that doesn't prove it to be an issue later on in the race.
Walsh was the Masters Cup champion in the Aussie racing cars last year. 2 pole positions and 5 race wins, along with 11 top 10s in last year's championship. As out of the final turn they come, we pan back to the rest of the field there for a split second anyway. The top 3 starting to move away from Blake Skiberis right now.
Fraser's doing a good job of staying with these guys. He'll be sitting back watching these guys, learning from 2 of the most experienced guys in the field, and really trying to sort of stick with them as much as he can. Clearly, he'd be hoping for these guys to make a mistake and take each other out, but don't know if that's going to happen.
You can't live on hope all race long. This replay's down at turn 9, and spinner in the background is that Rontonay. It is the Dutton Motorsport entry. Makes a handy cocktail during the week as well. And that's not nice on the run up to the top of the hairpin at nearly 200 k's an hour. We talked about that before. You simply just cannot pass.
He's tried to flick back to the inside to get the run into 14, but didn't quite time it right. He got there a little bit closer than he anticipated.
Lost a couple of positions out there. There's that panel work you talk about at the back of the Walsh machine as Tressida thinks about it. It's a phantom look through turn 8. And Luke Fraser not done with this yet either. The South Aussie, who's pretty handy in a Suzuki Swift back in the days too, spent a lot of laps around Mallala. Doing a fine job back there in 3rd position as we start to enter the closing stages of race number 3.
Kel Tressida knows he's still got plenty of time up his sleeve, so what he's going to do, he's going to sit back behind Ben Walsh, watch what he's doing, watch the attitude of his car, and try and pick a weakness where he can exploit that and get past.
Where do you look? There's so much to talk about in this race. We just saw Thompson in the Hertz entry that had 2 significant crashes on Thursday. He started off the front row, now finds himself back in 13th position with Waters. As down the main straight they come again and into the centre chicane. Still plenty of time, and Tressida hasn't lost touch with our race leader Ben Walsh as he slides his way across the centre chicane.
Walsh was loose on the entry there. You can see it's given Tressida a little bit of a run. Ben Walsh isn't silly. He goes a little bit defensive on the way up there. Didn't completely cover it under brake, but he moved across enough just so that Tressida knows that, hey, I know that you're there.
It's a pretty game magpie on the track at the top of Wakefield Street too. Absolutely oblivious to the fact these Aussie racing cars are on the circuit on a Saturday morning. Down into Hutt Street they go, glued to the back. It's vital, this run here. He's got a better run this time. Luke Fraser just starting to drop away a bit. As down Bartels Road they go, back down to the pits with Cam.
Bad sportsman flag for curbs being shown to Michael Rinken.
Ooh, okay. Rinken, the 71 machine, the Musselbrook Nissan entry, sitting back in 20th position.
Faking across to the inside there. Again, that's all about just trying to get the guy in front to look in his mirrors. It's not about really having a proper sort of go down the inside. It's just move across, let him know you're there. Get him to start thinking about looking in his mirrors. We've only got a few laps to go in this race. The more Tressida can move around behind the back of Ben Walsh, the more he gets him looking in his mirrors. He's trying to sort of see if he can force him into a bit of a mistake. But someone like Ben Walsh has got so much experience. He's one of the sort of form guys out there. It'll be hard-pressed to push him into a mistake, but this is the game we play. It's what you've got to do.
Well, over 20 years of experience in motorsport, dating back to the late 90s, where he was the International Asian Drivers' Champion in 1998. These days, lives in Noosa and runs Miss Money Pennies. Across the chicane, Tressida, our Rookie of the Year in the Aussie racing cars last year, 3rd overall. And we touched on it on race number 1 the other day. That's the race that cost him the championship in season 2016. Back in the field, turn 9 has been the action point all weekend long, and O'Keefe into Thompson. Oh. That car is battered. Look at the side, the tape hanging down this side. Watch for the spins around here. Every panel has had a dent or a mark or some tape on it. This will be a weekend he'd rather forget.
Yeah, you can see there's a lot of race tape holding that car together there, but back to the dice at the front here. Tressida needs to get as close as he can through here. This is better this time. Will he be able to sort of make his way out, have a look down the inside again? Fakes across to the inside, still not quite close enough. My guess is he's trying to line him up for the last lap.
No point doing it now. Through the backside they go. Here's Duckworth with Woods. Race winner yesterday. In fact, both these guys have scored race wins this weekend. Duckworth was given the win on Thursday afternoon when the penalties were handed out, and now Lee Bowler finds the gravel. That looks like turn number 4, and it's just spraying the racing line with gravel at the top. And now Tressida goes to the lead. He's gone a little bit early here, and Walsh, they'll go side by side down the straight, and they were split by 0.07 of a second at the finish line. He pulls back in. There's lap traffic ahead here. Who's going to go each side? Oh, he splits him. He's out on the dirty stuff and just keeps it away from the wall. Wow.
I don't think the lap car actually knew that there was any cars there, and then all of a sudden he's got both cars going side by side.
Not going to do too much through here. Wave yellows and lots of gravel being sprayed out onto the track through turn 5.
So Ben Walsh needs to line him up from here. He needs to get a good run onto the back straight. He's not quite close enough, but we've seen Walsh be probably the stronger of the two down here through turn 8. Really, there's only 2 more overtaking spots for these guys. Turn 9, hairpin, and the final turn. I just don't think Walsh is going to be close enough this time down through here. So it might have to be down at turn 14.
He's really going to have to go deep here if he wants to get this win. Don't think he's going to be able to do it here. Tressida protects the line. Fraser dropped a long way back there. Just wants to settle for points and a podium position in race number 3. The Can't Centre Perth entry, along with Team Navy that are supporting the young man from Bundaberg. Sweeps around the backside of the circuit and towards the top. He grabbed pole position here on Thursday afternoon. He won the race but was put back to the 13th row. He has to look down the inside now, Walsh, but the door slams shut and Tressida will break through, and this time we can guarantee he will win race number 3 of the Aussie racing cars here in Adelaide.
Great drive there by Kel Tressida. Also great drive there by Ben Walsh, but he will not be happy to finish second. He was out the front for most of that race, but look, great driving by both these guys. Very tight over the line here for these two.
Oh, it was
just gets him.
And it was less than 1/10 of a second for the 5th and 6th position. Margin was just 0.6 between 1st and 2nd. Great race between those two guys, Tressida and Walsh. Gee, they turned it on. We'll sort the grid tomorrow on points for the final race, but today the top 15 reverse grid race goes to that man, Kel Tressida. And did a fine job in the end there, 0.6 ahead of Luke Fraser, 6 seconds down the road. Well done to the South Aussie to get on the podium. Blake Skiveris was 4th, Craig Woods, James Duckworth in 6th, Reece Chapman and Jai Robson inside the top 10. He had an incident yesterday, and 2 Adams Ubergang ahead of Adam Casuccio in 10th position. Some of these guys did come from a long way back, incidentally, too. Chris Stevenson, Brendan Tucker, Jeff Waters, Kobe Rontanay, down to Craig Thompson, Michael Rinken, and Sam Chester in the 20th spot. Troy Dontis got the 21st back to Clark. Bill Hines in 24th, down to Leighton Barker, and Ruth Bowler completing the 29 cars with Todd O'Brien going a lap down.